Hello and welcome everyone, it is me, TheLaval, also known as the Power to Duelist, back for you with another video and another episode of Straight Outta the Toolbox. And today it's getting very adorable because we are taking a look at Melffy's. This is a rather new deck released in Rise of the Duelist a few months ago, and actually something that a friend of mine requested also a couple of months ago, but I had other decks to get around to, so sorry if this is a bit late for you. Starting off the main deck and setting a precedent for the art style of the deck, which is very cute, is Melffy Rabby. He's just a 0 attack 2100 defense vanilla. We do run the unexpected dice to go with him, so we can get into some Xyz plays. But yeah, he is just kinda chillin', and the first main deck Melffy we're taking a look at is Melffy Pony. All Melffys have two things in common. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster, or if they are targeted for an attack, they will return themselves to the hand, and then an effect will resolve. Also, during your end phase, you can special summon every effect Melffy from your hand, but both effects of each Melffy are once per turn. So, when Pony is targeted for an attack or your opponent summons a monster, you can return Pony to the hand and add a level 2 or lower beast monster from your graveyard back to your hand. Of course, neat recursion. He's alright, we mostly do run him because he is a Melffy and a level 2 beast, but getting back some of your more important beasts like Calantosa or maybe the Melffy Puppy is definitely rather appreciated. And on the topic of Melffy Puppy, here he is, and when he is returned to the hand by his own effect, he special summons a level 2 or lower beast from your deck, which basically is one of your main ways of interruption, because your opponent summons a monster, you chain Puppy, Puppy effect will summon a Calantosa from the deck, and Calantosa will destroy one card on the field. Most cases, if that monster does not have an on-summon effect, you will destroy that monster, which is of course rather good. And you can also just pop a card on the field, just on summon. It's really neat. So yeah, then we have Melffy Kathy. If your opponent, if she returns herself to the hand, you can add a beast monster from your deck to your hand. Notice that this just says beast and not level 2 or lower beast, so you can definitely work with a bit more generic, bigger beasts in this case. But yeah, she just adds two monsters to the hand, which you definitely appreciate because the extra resources are always nice. Then we have Melffy Fanny. When he is returned to the hand, he will special summon a beast monster from your hand. A good target for that would be Calantosa, because this is a way you can also pop a card on the field, which is rather neat. Yeah. Then just into the generic beasts we run. We of course run 3 Calantosa, Mystical Beast of the Forest. If this thing is special summoned by the effect of a beast monster, target a card on the field, destroy that target. Gets really funny when we get to talk about the Xyz monsters, but in general, Fanny and Puppy are Calantosa's best friends because they bring him out to pop a card your opponent controls. And so you want to slowly grind your opponent out of resources. Then I play 2 Fawn, Mystical Beast of the Forest. You can discard a card, target a level 2 or lower beast in your grave except himself, and yeah, special summon it in an attack or face down defense. Good way to discard Cerberus to activate Cerberus' effect, but also a good way to easily enable either a Synchro play or an Xyz play. In most cases an Xyz play, because I do not run that many generic level 4s. The level 4s I run are mostly for Cerberus. And speaking of him, here he is, the fabled Cerberus. If he is discarded to the graveyard, you can special summon him. Works well in combination with Fawn, and also is probably one of the better level 2 Fable tuners, not counting the OCG one with Anzac or Anzac, I don't know. Don't quite remember the name, but you mostly want to use them to go into Fabled Unicorn or Fabled Kodabi, mostly Unicorn because Unicorn is one of your best friends in this deck. And then capping off the monster lineup is one Slifer the Sky Dragon. Yes. Of course, we know what Slifer does. He gains 1000 attack per card in your hand, which might sound weird in this deck and in this day and age because you don't want to keep your cards in your hands, but remember, all Melffys return to the hand when you use their effects, so Slifer gets continuously bigger while your opponent's resources become smaller. And also Slifer's second effect, that each time your opponent summons a monster, that monster will lose 2000 attack, and if its attack would be reduced to 0, it is destroyed. Really helps with that, because you need to remember, if you have Slifer on the board and just 1 or 2 cards in hand, your opponent still needs to bring out a monster that has 3000 or more attack to run over Slifer. I know 3 tributes are a lot, but I think for just a casual one-off to have some fun, Slifer definitely is a cool inclusion into the deck and something you can work with. Then, of course, as mentioned, we run 2 unexpected die, control no monsters, special level 4 lower normal monster from your deck. Most cases, Melffy Rabby, because it's the only target in the deck. Then, basically the best card of the deck, Obedience Schooled. If you control a monster, special summon 3 level 2 or lower beast effect monsters with different names from your deck. Their effects are negated and they are destroyed in the end phase, and also after this card resolves, you can only special summon beast monsters. This basically enables any Xyz monster, any Synchro monster you want to make in this deck, gives you a huge amount of swarming and also comeback potential, because top decking this while you have no monsters on the board definitely is scary, because you can instantly start establishing a board again and start playing, which is really cool. Then the one Foolish Burial, just to set up the grave and give some targets for Valerifawn or just get some Melffys out of the deck. Then we do play 2 Melffy Tag. It's a quick play spell that just revives a Melffy monster from your graveyard. We play 3 Melffy Hide and Seek. First time each beast monster you control would be destroyed by a card effect. It is not destroyed. Also, you can target 3 beast monsters in your graveyard with different names, shuffle them into the deck and draw a card. Gives you a good bit of recursion. You mostly want to recycle your Kalentosas or just some of your Melffys, but mostly the Kalentosas, and get deeper into your deck. Then the themed trap card, Melffy Playhouse, or Melffy Time, I guess. Melffy Playhouse would be the English name. You detach a number of materials from beast Xyz monsters you control, then target up to that many cards your opponent controls, return them to the hand, and also all beast Xyz monsters you control gain 500 attack for each material detached until the end of the turn. This can really result in some nasty bouncing. Main play you want to go for might be Melffy of the Forest. Melffy of the Forest will search this, so you still have a bounce, but if you get to later stages of the game, or you were able to make multiple Xyz monsters turn 1, you can definitely end up bouncing 3 to 4 cards from your opponent with 1 card, which is really good, to be honest. But yeah. Then, just keeping with the theme, I do run 3 compulsory evacuation device, not only because it is very flexible as a card, because not only lets it target your own monsters, but also your opponents, which not only makes this an interruption, but also a way to help you with establishing the Unicorn lock. And what that is, we will be talking about it right now. The Fabled Unicorn is a level 4 Synchro monster that takes a Fabled Tuner and a non-tuner monster. And while you and your opponent have the same number of cards in hand, you negate all spell, trap, and effect monster effects activated by your opponent and destroy that said card. Wow! That's a very good lockdown effect for a card released about 10 years ago. You mostly want to accompany this with your Melffy effects to just like control hand sizes and keep it that way, that your opponent and you have the same number of cards in hand. I do mess that up once in the replay, spoiler alert. But in general, you want to look out to use the Melffy effects that your opponent and you retain the same number of cards to get Unicorn to negate everything your opponent wants to play. Then I do run the one Fabled Kodabi. If you have no cards in your hand, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, which is a rather neat protection effect, but he is just here because you can make him. Definitely you can think about any level 4 synchro monsters you can make and include those. Then going into the first archetypal monster, we have Excited Melffys. You make this with 2 or more level 2 beast monsters, and you can detach a material from this card, and your Melffy monsters can attack your opponent directly this turn, which is really cool, because this actually gives this deck a way to poke in for some damage, because the deck really lacks the ability to put out a lot of damage. Yeah. Also during your opponent's turn, which is the very fun part about this card, quick effect, you can target a beast XYZ monster you control, return that monster to the extra deck, and then you can special summon level 2 or lower beasts from your grave up to the number of materials that monster had. This gets especially fun if you get 2 Kalentosas in your grave, because this essentially turns Excited Melffys into an Icarus attack once per turn. That basically gives you the materials you need to make it again next turn, which turns into a really nice loop that enables you to every turn pop 2 cards your opponent controls, which is really neat. Then next up we have Melffy Mummy, also made with 2 or more level 2 beast monsters, and once per turn by quick effect you can attach a beast monster from your hand or face up field to her as a material, and she gains effects based on the number of materials she has. 3 or more, she can't be destroyed by battle. 4 or more, you take no damage from battles involving her. And 5 or more, when she attacks an attack position monster, your opponent takes damage equal to that monster's attack. This is supposed to be something that enables you to win. It rarely will do that. It is mostly something that you can sink a lot of XYZ materials in to use Melffy Playhouse to bounce a lot of cards from the field. Yeah, then we have Melffys of the Forest. Takes 2 level 2 monsters, and you can detach a material from this card to add a Melffy card from your deck to your hand if another face-up Melffy monster you control is returned to the hand, except during the damage step. You can target a face-up monster your opponent controls. It cannot attack, and also it has its effect negated while it's face-up on the field. Also something very nice that enables a good amount of control. Not only that this thing searches Melffy Playhouse, but also that it is able to, when your Melffys return to hand, negate your opponent's monster effects, which gives you neat ways to kind of chain block your opponent, because you can maybe bounce a puppy, summon Kalentosa, activate the Kalentosa effect, pick a target, and then just go ahead and chain the Melffy Forest effect to negate that target's effect, to maybe get rid of negates or anything else, which is rather neat. Then I do run 2 number 64 Ronin Raccoon Sandayu. Takes 2 level 2 beasts, and once per turn you detach a material from and special summon a Kagemusha Raccoon token. That has its attack become the highest attack of a monster on the field that has the highest attack. And while you control another beast type monster, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. This effect is mostly used to out really big beaters you can't out with your card effects. Just, for example, a Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. You just make him, use that effect, and crash the token into Chaos Max to out it. But yeah. Then just capping off the XYZ lineup is a Skull Cavalry Centaurea, takes 2 level 2s, and she cannot be destroyed by battle while she has XYZ material. And also at the end of the damage step, if she battled an opponent's monster, you detach an XYZ material from her and return that opponent's monster from the field to the hand. Rather neat, because this is able to stick on the board and maybe bounce some cards, but you can definitely think of other rank 2s as well. I have a Borreload, a Decode, and a Mrs. Radiant here, just to show that links exist. In general, I do not run that many link monsters in not really link-focused decks, but you can definitely shift the focus here and maybe pick up a couple more links for some Melffy Mummies or just for the Raccoon, if you want to go for that. But this has been it with a profile, and I will just see you guys shortly when we take a look at some combos and what you want to do with this deck. And here we are in the first replay. I'm actually showing this first, and contrary to the other games, because this was a replay where I had one of those oh moments. Because I was thinking in this part, I must be able to chain Catty and Fanny to get out a Calentosa. Because just like that, I lost the Melffy hide and seek because of the Link Slayer. But yeah, going into battle here after making joyous Melffys, summoning Fanny and Catty in the end phase, and now you're gonna see what I meant. He summons the Ram Claudia. I chain the Cathy and Fanny, making sure that Fanny is chainlink 1 and Cathy is chainlink 2, so that Cathy searches before Fanny's effect resolves. I search a Calentosa with Cathy, and Fanny will summon the Calentosa. Meanwhile, I've been able to out his board by using excited Melffys to get a double pop on his cards, which is where you kind of want to be with this deck, because being able to each turn, just like that, pop 2 cards, definitely scary. Definitely scary. So yeah, here I'm just gonna go ahead, summon the Cerberus, get out Unicorn, make excited Melffys, and run into his life points. He still has the card on hand, but I just chain the excited Melffys to the summon. Calentosa will activate, destroy the Link Slayer, and from there on out, it is game. I do even end up making the joyous Melffys again. But yeah, you are rather consistently able to put up interruptions each turn with this deck, but you are very, very reliant on opening Obedience Schooled or any of your other playmakers slash extenders. Going ahead, making Melffy of the Forest here, summoning the Fabled Unicorn, activating the Melffy Hide and Seek, and setting the Melffy Playhouse. He summons the Draconet, starts going at his combos. But yeah, I'm just waiting for a time where I can start doing this. Same number of cards in hand, everything he does is negated. So I of course make sure that with him drawing a card the next turn, I get the Fanny on board. So I can chain the Fanny, so we have the same number of cards in hand, and the effect of his monster is negated. This is something that is also helpful with on-summon effects. I think here is the point where I misplay, because I summon the Fanny, which I should not have done. Because if I had kept the Fanny in hand, the first card he would have wanted to resolve would have not gone through, because we had the same number of cards in hand. You always need to remember your opponent draws a card for their turn, so you gotta make sure that you have one less card in your hand than your opponent if you want to gamble on a monster, but you can definitely stay on the safe side and keep the same number of cards in hand, just so that you don't mess up like I did. So yeah, this Decode Talker proves to be a bit of a pain, so I use the Calentosa to out him after baiting the negate with Melffy of the Forest. Now we are going into Joyous Melffys, which is a really strong card, getting Pony, Catty, and Fanny on the board in our end phase, so he can start with this turn. This was a replay I recorded before I figured out that you could chain Catty and Fanny like an intelligent person. But yeah, in this replay it doesn't matter. Game has been going on for a long time, and with me constantly taking cards out of his place, and all that, I'm able to slowly deplete him of resources and close out the game. So yeah, I turn Joyous Melffys into a Calentosa. Calentosa will pop the dot scraper. Turn will swing back to me. I will make all the Melffy XYZ monsters and swing for game with those. So yeah, and third time's the charm. Starting off here with the unexpected die, getting out Rabby. Rabby, we will then normal summon the Valerifawn. Getting to our Melffy time, special summoning Puppy in the end phase, special summoning Fanny in the end phase. And yeah, from here on out we have an interruption with the Puppy, which he, I guess, knows and just steals the Puppy, but we also have the Playhouse to be able to bounce the Boot Stagger when he attempts to summon that. So yeah, he continues a bit on his place. I return the Fanny to my hand to save it from being destroyed by battle. I negate the Link Spider, and he makes a Decode Talker. I then use the Melffy tag to get Puppy back on the board, make an excited Melffys. He will use a Silent Backdoor to banish that Link Spider, which is not cool, but yeah, I will use the Melffy time to bounce the Decode Talker back. He will enter battle. I will use the Joyous Melffys effect to return Puppy to the field so I can have a pop if needed, but he will not take the bait. I activate the hide and seek, swing over the dot scraper real quick, and yeah, we're in for some grind games here because this deck takes its time. Puppy then returning to the hand, summoning Calentosa, popping the Boot Staggered, because as soon as your opponent starts to get over 2000 attack, you run into a lot of problems. I just used the Joyous Melffys effect here to poke once for direct damage. And here I already... No, I chain the Joyous Melffys here, Calentosa. I can safely let my board get wiped here, because I do have the Obedience Schooled in hand, summoning Pony, Catty, and a Cerberus, summoning Valerifawn, making Unicorn, making Joyous Melffys, swinging over that Honeybot. And with that, I use the Melffy Hide and Seek after my battle phase, so that while I went into battle phase, the Unicorn effect was still active, and when he went around for his turn, the first card he played didn't go through. So yeah, turn goes back to me, summon the Puppy, make the Joyous Melffys again, and swing for game. So yeah, as mentioned, you want to use Joyous Melffys to each turn swap that thing out and summon back level 2 or lower beasts from your grave, preferably Calentosa, which is something you want to summon off most of your summoning effects, especially Puppy and Fanny. Maybe go in with the Unicorn and try to keep hands as evenly distributed as possible to negate every card your opponent wants to play, or have some fun with Slifer. But this deck is definitely a lot of fun, and I will probably continue playing and improving on this deck. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely leave a like, comment, or subscribe if you did. And as always, I will hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. But until then, goodbye.